morning. Welcome to Convo, the last Monday Convo of the semester. So, yeah. Congrats on making it. We're going to have a few announcements. This morning's Convo is on some serious topics. Healthy relationships, Title IX, how we run safe campuses, that kind of stuff. So before we start, I'd like to just take a moment to have some silence, to center ourselves in the space and prepare ourselves for the conversation. So let's just take a few seconds. I'll watch the clock, and then I'll introduce our people giving announcements. Thank you. Before we hear from Dana Baxter and Janet Fulmer, we have a few announcements, starting with Dr. Mimi and Tim Swartzendruber.
But if I fall, somebody catch me too. Good morning. Good morning. Everybody good? Yes, ma'am. Everybody count down for these breaks coming up? Yes, I know we are. Tim and I have a couple of announcements. You know I talk. Everybody can hear me okay, right? All right, good.
But the recording might not.
Oh, can the recording hear me? Okay. So we just want to make sure that everybody is wrapping up and getting ready for the end of the school year. And we just want to share some tips to end on a positive note, end with some good vibes, end with some excitement in returning for the fall, okay? So here are some things I need you all to start getting prepared for as we wrap up the year. How many are ready for your final exams? Oh, gosh, that's fewer hands than I had that were prepared for the holiday breaks. Okay, how many of you have gotten your employment experience hours done? Oh, one hand, two hands, okay. So I need you to get that done, employment experience. Try to figure out some ways to get those hours completed. It's time to do some tutoring sessions if you need to get prepared for these final exams, getting some study sessions. It's time to get those things done. I need some positive energy going on around here. I don't need any reports coming to me about anyone doing things that they're not supposed to be doing. I need everything coming to me right now saying I'm getting prepared for the end of the school year. I'm excited about the holiday break, all of these great things, okay? So my question to you is right now, how many of you are preparing for the end of this break? How many are going home?
Come on now.
Oh, okay, good. We got that many that are going home, so that's not everybody, but we got the majority that are going home. That's a good thing. I want you to be able to prepare yourselves to go home and spend time with family. What I also want to say is, when you are dealing with various things on campus, conflict, things of that nature, you see something, we need you to talk to us about it. Our coaches are here to have conversations. I am here to have conversation. And also we have our student wellness office that are here to have conversation. It's important that you know this, okay? We're trying to make sure that we can cut down on as much conflict as we possibly can on campus. Anything that's disturbing you on campus, tell us about it, and let's see if we can find some solutions to it, okay? And we need you to be able to have that space. And that space does exist here at Bethel College, okay? Okay? You all right? You all right with that? Okay, all right. So, positive energy, positive vibes, positive notes so we can wrap up this semester and be excited about going home, okay? That's really my announcement, and Tim is going to back me up on some of this, right, Tim? All right.
You know, once upon a time, I was out there. I was a student, so this is my first opportunity really to be at a convocation. That's pretty exciting to be up here on the stage instead of out there. But anyway, glad to see everyone. A few things. First of all, I think as you hopefully know, I am the athletic director. I just want to first of all shout out, we have had an outstanding fall of student athletes, just our performances on the field, on the court. So great job. Really proud of you guys. Great job. Really have. You know, the second thing, just to, I guess, reiterate what Dr. Mimi said, and just to really encourage you, make good choices, make good decisions down the stretch. You know, as athletic director, if there are situations that arise, as Dr. Mimi commented, they many times get to our desks, and then certain times we have to deal with situations. And we're just highly encouraging you, make good choices. We have great resources here. Again, we've had a great fall. For me, it's been a lot of fun, just barely into my second year. I've gotten to know many of you. That's been fun for me, and certainly if you ever have anything that you would like to come into my office and talk about, my door is open. But I just want to reiterate what Dr. Mimi said and just encourage each of you, make good decisions, make good choices down the stretch, finish it out strong. Get your employment experience hours in, that would be great. Do great in your last few weeks here on the academic side. You're here to get your education. Don't lose sight of that, okay? Thank you.
I'm so sorry, Trent.
You're fine.
Okay. A couple more announcements I need to make. For employment experience opportunities, I'm sure you've all have seen the email about the Christmas Gala. Christmas Gala is coming up. For those who want to, that need employment experience hours, there's an opportunity for you to get some hours with that. And I also want to announce that in January 24th and 25th, we have the Ad Astra Conference that's coming up for first generation students. November 8th, we celebrated first gen students. January, we'll have a conference here on campus for first-gen students. We'll have students coming from various colleges and also staff and faculty members that will be here. And we want you all to engage in this. So if you're interested, contact me because there is a registration fee and I am going to be paying for 10 first-gen students to participate in this, okay? So please mark your calendar for that as well. I'm done.
Today we're going to be talking about Title IX, and before that, healthy relationships from Dana Baxter of Student Wellness. So please welcome Dana.
Can I get it switched to the... Thank you. I don't think I'm controlling that one. I don't think that's your computer. I don't think this is the...
Is it not moving through?
Mm-mm. Is that this port? Oh.
It's like,
Yeah, it was a second ago, but...
I think.
please go sing for us. Here, I get you mine. No.
I'll never not think of the Menendez brothers now when I hear that song because that was in the document, or not documentary, but to take out your phone, scan this QR code. It's going to bring up a series of questions, more scenarios, and I'd like you to answer. Go through those scenarios, take some time while I'm talking, answer if you think it's red flag behavior, green flag behavior, or I do have an option of it depends because sometimes it's not as clear. Just a reminder, when we're thinking red flags, we're probably all familiar with that term. I see it on TikTok all the time. I went out for a date, these are the red flags. We're thinking of warning signs that something is potentially unhealthy or not safe. And then when we think of green flags, I think of, I don't know if y'all have seen that TikTok guy that runs in the background with a green flag every time somebody does something that is validating or healthy in a relationship. So those are going to be the things that are considered more balanced, more equal in relationships. So when I was asked to do a presentation on healthy relationships and only 20 minutes, I definitely was excited, but also recognized that this is a topic that is really hard to condense into 20 minutes. So please bear with me. There's a lot of information I'm gonna try to stuff in here. I honestly, this is my background, this is my passion. Domestic violence, intimate partner violence, power-based control. I could probably teach an entire semester on it, but I'm gonna try to condense it into 20 minutes now. This is a really important topic, especially in light of, I would say, recent events that we've heard about. Just making sure everyone understands what is healthy, what is unhealthy, what is our culture started to maybe accept that might be moving in a space that's unhealthy. A lot of that is obviously modeled for us. It's in the media, it's shown by our parents, our peers, coaches, it's maybe different experiences we have, so it doesn't all come from one place, but I think it's really important to just kind of recognize where we're getting this information and make sure we're all on the same page of what is really healthy and unhealthy and what some of those warning signs are when it comes to relationships. Just some statistics here. So the reason this is important for college-age students, most victims of rape, physical violence, and or stalking by an intimate partner had their first experience before the age of 25. So that's in your age range. When we look at statistics for unhealthy relationships and reports of domestic violence across the board, the biggest age range is your 20 to 24 and then your 25 to 30 range. So if you're not in that range, you will be here shortly and then continue for the next 10 years. You are at most or highest risk for experiencing unhealthy relationship dynamics or being a victim. 36% of polled college students said that they have given a dating partner their computer, email, or social media passwords. These students are more likely to experience digital dating abuse. So when I talk about the dynamics that we're seeing just culturally, socially, what we're seeing as social media becomes more pervasive, it's some unhealthy dynamics that we're normalizing now. And then over half of all college students say that it's difficult to identify dating abuse. So seems like we're really missing the boat when it comes to getting the information out there of what looks like dating abuse. What are the warning signs? How to identify it? And then 38% of college students say they don't know how to get help for themselves if they experience dating abuse as a victim. And that's a scary statistic for me. That means 38% of people on this campus would not know how to get help if they experienced an abusive situation. I just want to talk briefly about what the Kansas statistics look like, and I'm not going to get too statistic-based because I don't want to make it too heavy, but I will say it's important to note that 66.9% of victim offender relationships were reported as intimate partners. So in totality, across Kansas, domestic violence incidents could potentially include a family member, roommate, their definition in the legal sense is a little wider than just significant other or partner, but 66.9% of those will be intimate partners. Just in Kansas, there were 18 intimate partner homicides in 2023. One was actually in this county, Harvey County, and 8 were in Sedgwick County. 28% of those victims were under the age of 25 years. So that's our college age students. 72% of those intimate partner homicides saw the use of a firearm. And I didn't put this statistic on here, but I think it's important. And it definitely, in we'll say a concealed carry state where people have the freedom to keep firearms, to use them for protection. I will just say, in an intimate violence partnership, the presence of a firearm, whether it be the victims, the perpetrators, or somebody else in the home, it increases the likelihood of homicide by 500%. You are 500 times more likely to have that firearm used against you, just by it physically existing in the space. If there's been prior strangulation in that relationship, that increases to 1,100%. So when we're talking about healthy relationships and talking about what unhealthy relationships look like, I use this power and control wheel a lot. Some of you may be familiar with it if you've taken any type of social work class or had any teachings on this before. This power and control wheel is an older graphic. There are lots of variations now. They've really changed it to meet different dynamics, different gender identities, different cultures, religion. So you can find various versions, but it holds a lot of the same information. It kind of talks about what constitutes as power and control in a relationship, because the healthy relationship is balanced in power and both partners feel like they have equal control. So if we're seeing specific factors that are in this power and control wheel, like coercion, threats, intimidation, emotional abuse, isolation, that would indicate an unhealthy relationship. A healthy relationship would look like honesty, responsibility, open communication, fairness and negotiation, shared responsibility, respect, trust, support, and that would look like the equality wheel. So for a relationship to be considered healthy, both partners need to feel that they have equal power and control in the relationship. Relationship green flags. We don't hear this enough. I know we hear a lot of red flags, but I just wanted to point out, like, what do good relationship factors look like? So appreciation, valuing your partner, expressing gratitude, balance, spending time together, but also being able to spend time apart. Being individuals, having individual interests, being able to spend time with friends. Conflict resolution, taking responsibility for your own actions and showing accountability and then working through that. Honesty, independence, safety, respecting each other's boundaries, whether that's physical, whether that's emotional, whether that's sexual, and talking about that stuff. These are the hallmarks of a healthy relationship. I want to circle back to that QR code that I had y'all scan and those questions that you answered. I'm going to pull out the data because I have it here on my phone. And we're just going to talk through some of the scenarios because I think it's more important that you guys hear from each other and hear your peers' perspectives on these topics. So I want to share some of your answers here. Oh, good, 67. So y'all did a really good job answering them. So scenario one talked about you're at the caf with a friend and they confide that they're stressed about a long distance relationship where their partner likes it when they send explicit photos. They were agreeable originally, but now they're not wanting to do it anymore. And their partner is having a response of, well, you've done this previously, and it's something I need to feel close to you. And recently the partner even told your friend that they'd break up if they didn't continue sharing those photos. So I have your responses here. It looks like 97% of you felt like it was red flag, that this was a red flag relationship. Does anybody feel comfortable sharing why they thought that this might be a red flag? What about someone who said it depends? Does anybody feel comfortable sharing their thought process on it depends? I'm dropping sticks. Nobody? No. So this is not a topic we feel comfortable sharing our opinions on. Okay. I find that interesting considering most of you did consider it to be a red flag. So we have kind of the group validation here. If you said that, then it sounds like the majority of your peers think that you're correct. Nobody wants to share. Yes.
Should it in a relationship? The partner should be comfortable with not understand why you don't want to.
Yes. It sounds like you're saying the partner should respect your boundaries and you shouldn't have to do that to continue a relationship. You shouldn't have to continue sending photos. Even if you did it before, that is not something that you should feel like you have to continue doing. Does anybody have an alternative perspective or want to add? Yes, ma'am.
Along with that, it has to like always be mutual.
Yeah, mutual, right. Some would say consensual, which when we talk about consent, I don't know that I'm gonna break up with you if you don't continue to send them is necessarily getting someone's full enthusiastic consent, I would say. Anyone else want to share a different? Yes.
It seems to be a little bit controlling, and then the threat of breaking up seems to be manipulative.
Yes, absolutely. So you pointed out that power and control. One partner is taking the control in the relationship, and they're not able to give they're not able to have equal power. Yeah. We'll go on to scenario 2. Recently, you and your partner had a disagreement which led to an argument. When you try to talk to them about how you're feeling, your partner listens and then tells you their perspective of the situation. This was not a trick question, and most of you realize that. So 96% of you thought that this is a green flag. Two had said it depends, and then one said red flag. Might have thought I was trying to trick them. But does anybody want to share why you thought this was green flag behavior? Yes, in the hat.
It's good to just talk about your feelings and hearing both sides of the things and working together as a couple.
Yeah, that sounded a lot like validation to me. And yeah, I listened, and then I told you my perspective. Thank you. Anybody else have anything to add, or maybe an alternative perspective? Maybe someone who said it depends. Maybe in your mind you were like, well, it kind of depends if it's this particular situation or if this happens. Anybody? No? Okay. Third scenario, you're spending time with your partner when they say you seem distracted, you've been looking at your phone a lot. Who are you texting? I hear this in my office very often. Goes back and forth, and then the partner says, well, if it's no big deal, let me see your phone. Let me look through the text. If you have nothing to hide, just prove it. I'm curious to know what y'all thought about this scenario. So, okay, 55% thought it was a red flag. 40% said it really depends, and then 4% said green flag. Does anybody feel comfortable sharing their perspective on this particular scenario? Yes.
It depends on how long they've been texting.
Okay. So if I'm understanding, you're saying it's dependent on how long the partner who is texting the other person has been texting them?
Yeah, like, let's say they were their partner and like, they're texting. Are they texting?
Okay. So you have further questions. Okay. Okay. So I get what you're saying. And it definitely, I think you're saying that more context is needed, that we don't have enough information. So say they had been texting them for a long time. Do you feel that individuals have a right to their own privacy on their own phone? Yeah? Do you think that changes if somebody is texting a member of the opposite sex or texting someone that they previously had a relationship with? No? Yeah. Does anybody else have an alternative perspective about this scenario as to why you might see it as a red flag? Yes.
It's because I want to make sure that I'm the only one you're talking to.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is there's a lack of trust, which we know is foundational for a healthy relationship, even if the partner is texting the person at midnight or has been texting them for weeks. Relationships are built on trust, and once that trust is gone, then it's definitely something that needs to be talked about and maybe looked at in a different perspective.
I wonder how the first person had been hurt in the past.
That's true. Yes, there could be some prior relationship hurt, or some would call it baggage that comes in there, and maybe they need to go to therapy and talk to a therapist about why they're reacting that way. I don't know. I do private practice outside of here. No, I'm just kidding. So, next scenario. You're spending time with your partner. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how I got the same scenario on there twice. So it's different on the screen, so sorry. Your partner tells you that since you're in a relationship with them, you shouldn't talk to exes or hang out with other people that your partner doesn't like. I hear this one a lot too. Then they say, they get upset when they see you engaging with people on social media because they think it's considered flirting. And at one point, your partner suggests that you both go through your phones and then just remove everybody that you've previously had a relationship with or that your partner doesn't feel comfortable. I do hear this one a lot as well. I have heard some partners say, well, they got in my phone and just deleted everybody off my social media that I, was the opposite sex or that even looked at me, in the calf or whatever. So for this one, you guys said 61% said this is a red flag, 28% said it depends, and 10% said green flag, good to go. Can a green flag person share their thought process with me, please? Friends in that space, anybody want to share? No judgment from me, it's complicated, we're working through it. Yes?
I ain't gonna lie, I feel like it's a green flag.
Yeah. Can you share why?
First by me, it ain't that deep for real. It is like you just said on the last time, you said trust. So, my trust is that deep.
Just so I understand, because it sounds like everyone around you is getting what you're saying. So are you saying it's not that deep to remove the friends from social media?
You said what? Repeat that.
So are you saying it's not that deep, not as big of a deal to remove the friends from social media, or I should trust you, so I should let you keep your friends list as is?
Yeah, you met those friends before me, so.
Oh, okay, so you're saying that you wouldn't ask your partner to delete them?
Right.
Okay, thank you. I better understand now. So you're saying that the green flag thing to do would be like, they're your friends before me. I get it. I'm going to respect that. We're going to have trust.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Anybody have a different perspective to that? Of why they think the friends should or shouldn't be deleted? A lot of you did. You just don't want to say it. Yes.
Okay, so I feel like if it is, again, with the whole mutual thing, if you both think that that's a good idea and you want to do that for the other person, then I think that would be okay as long as it's like that mutual consent type of thing.
Okay. So you're saying it depends if it's mutual and you both have the idea and you feel comfortable doing it. Okay. Yeah. I definitely see that perspective too. If you're both in agreement and it's not a do this or I'm going to break up with you or you have to do this, I think some would argue that, yeah, that is totally okay because you both are making the decision and there's equal power balance. Yes.
I feel like it could quickly turn into a red flag situation if one of the partners removes anyone they deem as like a threat and try and like isolation tactic.
Yeah. So if it's, oh, your friends don't really like me, so I'm going to remove them from your social media so that they don't know what's going on, that could turn into isolation. Absolutely. So that's another, it depends. Yeah. Thank you. Some good some good feedback, and I'm glad you guys are engaging in this. My last question was, what are some relationship red flags you have experienced? And I'm gonna pull some of these up. These are anonymous. I don't see them, so thank you so much for sharing. Hey guys, can I get your attention just so we can listen to our friends' perspectives, or colleagues, coworkers, co-students? My brain isn't working. Peers, thank you. My ADHD brain can be such a hard thing to control sometimes. Okay, so you said not listening to me. Being on again, off again, not knowing what's gonna happen. Lying about where they are and who they're with. Ooh. Okay, red flag. Can't argue with her because she always has a rebuttal. JK, JK. Dependent and clingy, aggressive when things don't go their way, lying about drinking, hiding their phone, getting mad at me when hanging out with bozos. Friends. Lack of trust. Controlling, wanting to look through my phone, cheating. So it looks like a lot of you actually have experienced unhealthy dynamics, and I think that says a lot of my prior, to support the prior stats that I put up. So again, just to reiterate, the most important parts of these conversations are, one, that you're willing to talk about it, because that's how you learn, that's how you figure out what your partner's comfortable with, that's how you make sure that you maintain safety in your relationship. Two, you're recognizing where you can get help and that you can get help. I want to bring up some of the resources that exist. These are higher level resources. We'll start with the first one is Safe Hope. I don't know if y'all know this, but there's a Safe Hope advocate on campus every Tuesday. Her name is Dee, and she sits in my office and the wellness counselor's office from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So if there's ever a scenario that you need to talk through, if you need to get support, if you need to connect to resources, if you're in an unhealthy, abusive, any type of relationship, or have experienced an unconsensual sexual encounter, she would be a great person to talk to. You can just stop in. You don't have to make an appointment. You can also email me or Mary and say, like, hey, I'm gonna stop in and make sure that space is held, but you can always just walk in. You could call Safe Hope. So their line is up there. Feel free to take pictures if you might need it, or if maybe one of your peers might need it, because I know sometimes we aren't prepared for those situations, and having the screenshot might be helpful. You can talk to me or Mary. So you've seen these QR codes before. If there's a situation that you want to talk over, you're unsure of, you're realizing that maybe there's some unhealthy tendencies in your behavior or your partner's behavior, we're more than happy to talk through that with you. And then there's the Kansas Crisis Hotline and the National Domestic Violence Hotline. The National Domestic Violence Hotline doesn't just have a call version, they have a text version too. So if you don't feel comfortable calling in, or you like to control kind of the pace at which things go, you can text START to 88788. You can feel free to take a picture of that too for anybody who might need it. I'll be honest, I don't know if I have anything else. Oh, okay, there we go. And one other resource as well before I hand it over to Janet. Well, I guess you are the resource. Title IX. So in spaces where, in higher education and other educational spaces, there is a piece of legislation that gives certain rights, certain opportunities to students who experience abuse, unhealthy relationships, I guess, however you want to quantify it. So we're going to hear a little bit from Title IX here at Bethel. Before I end, does anybody have any questions or final comments about anything I talked about? Yes, in the hat.
What's your view on social media ruining healthy relationships?
100%. My view is that it has contributed to a lot of new things since coming about, especially the ability to connect discreetly with other people. Although I would like to say, just so we're all on the same page too, it's never as discreet as you think it is. So just know that if there are things you're sharing or putting out there on like Snapchat or other like Discord, other vanishing type situations, just know that can be pulled up at some point in time if the right people want to do it. So just putting that out there. But yeah, I definitely think social media has contributed to an issue with healthy relationships, and that idea of like you see shirts that are like bloom where you're planted, or water your own grass before looking for greener grass. There's a better way to say that, but basically, like, are you happy with what you have when you're seeing this constant stream of new people, new shiny things on social media? It can be really difficult to bloom where you're planted or put in the resources to your own relationship. So I think that's a downfall too. Yeah. What are your thoughts on it?
So if I were to be in a healthy relationship, I should get rid of social media.
I would say not necessarily. I think there's ways to be intentional about what you consume, when you consume it, and what you're giving your attention to. I don't think it just ruins like significant other relationships. It ruins like family relations. There's a lot of different things that it can ruin. So I think you have to be intentional about what you're consuming, what sites you're getting on, how does it align with your values and your goals. But no, I'm not saying you should get rid of all social media. I'm not a fan of social media because I think it creates a lot of larger social issues, abuse of children, and you won't get into all of those things. But I'm not saying like chuck the social media. That's something you have to kind of think about. Are you able to control it? Is it something that you feel like you have a good handle on? Other questions or comments? No? Cool. All right, well, thank you for your time. I appreciate your time and your interaction.
We're not done yet, but thank you, Dana. So this convo has kind of two parts. There's the healthy relationships part, and then there's the Title IX part. And I think the healthy relationships conversation was lively, but we want to take a moment to settle ourselves again, take a deep breath. Let's give our attention to Janet Fulmer and the Title IX coordinators. And please engage in this section of the convo respectfully. And I think that especially entails lowering voices and giving listening attention.
Thank you, Trent. We want to start off and do some introductions so you all know who is on our Title IX team. I am the Title IX coordinator for Bethel. Each college is required to have someone assigned to that role, and so that is one of the hats that I wear. But I have several members of the team with me as well. So, oh, you got the mic? Okay, Lily, you want to hop up here?
Hi, all. I'm Lily, one of the admissions counselors here. I've been on the Title IX team for about 2 years.
Casey Green, been on Title IX for about 5 years.
I'm Greg. I've been on for about 5 years as well.
Joanne Entz, I just got on the team this August.
I'm Renee Stuckey, and I've been on the team for 2 years.
I'm Doug Stevens. I think I've been on the committee for 3 years.
Rachelette Buller, I'm not sure, a few years.
Brad Bourne, I think 3.
Mishanya Wren Coleman, I am approaching 2 years with Title IX.
Awesome. All right. Well, as you can see, this is not something that any one person could do alone. So any one of us, if you guys have a question, a concern, an issue on it moving forward, you can do that with any one of us on the team. And we have a variety of folks, just because I think it's important for you guys to be able to connect with somebody that you know. We also have a couple coaches as well. So David Middleton's on it, the softball coach. Felicia Teeter, the women's flag football coach, is also a member of our team as well. And so we do have some other folks that are a part of our team as well. Let's see, another one that's not here today is Tammy, thank you, in the nursing department. So she's also here with us as well. So, alrighty, so Title IX, this is the regulation. So it's again, it's a very short thing, but we have to realize that not every situation that comes up on campus is gonna fit into this little box, okay? So what we have to try and do is when a situation comes up is figure out where's the best box for it, okay? And it might be with Title IX, it might not be. Maybe it's a student conduct issue that we're gonna have to move over and have Ms. Shania and her department deal with. Maybe it's an HR issue if we have an employee involved, those kinds of things. But obviously, we're trying to make sure that people are not discriminated against in any of their pursuits. And this is a federal regulation. Okay, so Lily, you want to do mandatory reporters?
Yeah. I'm sure most of y'all are aware of this, but quick reminder, all staff, faculty members of Bethel are mandatory reporters, except for 3, which is Dana and Mary, as well as Michael. Other resources outside of Bethel are also not reporting back to Bethel. So if you want to notify someone, you want to talk to someone like your coach, your professors, staff members, just know that they will be notifying the Title IX office. When that happens, you'll get an email from Janet that says, hey, I've been notified by a mandated reporter that something happened last weekend. They're not going to share who it was. That person who reported it does not share any details. So if you talk to your coach about these things that happened, just know all we hear is something happened that involved this student. They don't explain anything else. They just say, hey, this person might need some help. You'll get an email from Janet that talks about outside resources as well as resources on campus. If you choose to, we can start something called the reporting process. What that means is you get counseling, that could be medical, academic, housing, accommodations to help you through this time. So that could be asking for extensions in classes, could be making sure that you are in a better roommate situation, maybe you move dorms, things like that. And we start the process of figuring out who this falls under. Like Janet said, if it's not a Title IX issue, it may go to student life, it could go to HR, but we help you figure out who would be the best place to help you work through this. Some more supportive measures are listed up there. You all will have a copy of this PowerPoint at the end. We'll share that out to y'all. But here's the ones we like to highlight. One thing to note is if you'd like a no contact order, that basically means that person is not allowed to contact you over social media, email, in person. You are not going to contact that person. That is the only one that's listed here that is not anonymous. So if you have something reported, I don't want that other person to know that I've reported this. That is totally okay. We can have all of these accommodations without that person being notified, except for that last one, because they need to know who to stay away from. After that, if y'all decide to continue, there's something called the formal complaint process. You will have the same things of getting an email from Janet. You get supportive measures for dorm life, classes, other places that might be affecting your just everyday life after this incident, and talking to the person in the correct category. But if you decide to, you can continue to the formal complaint process. Janet will talk a little bit more about this.
Okay, so when you guys are notified of what's going on, you're going to actually get something in writing, okay? So you're going to get a letter that says you're being accused of violating a certain policy. So it's not like this is not going to happen behind your back, okay? So everyone is going to be aware of what's going on, okay? As far as between the two parties. The formal complaint process is not anonymous because at this point in time, you're going to be saying, I'm saying that someone has done something specifically to me, okay? And that person has a right to be notified so they can start to develop what their defense is going to be, okay? So this is not an anonymous thing at this point in time. I want to make sure everybody understands that. Also, you're going to be able to select an advisor. And this is kind of a person that's going to walk with you through this process as an advocate, okay? They're going to help you navigate the paperwork. They're going to sit with you at interviews, all those kinds of things. But they can be with you every step of the way. And you get to choose who that is, okay? So that might be someone, might be a professor you have, it might be a coach, it might be someone, maybe your parent, maybe you want to hire an attorney. All those things are possible. If you don't have someone specific, we can assign someone off of our team that can be that advocate for you. They can't have any other roles in the process except being that person's advocate, okay? And then Greg's going to talk about investigations.
If there has been a formal complaint, then there will be an investigation. The investigation will be conducted by 2 of the Title IX committee members. Both parties will be interviewed, as well as any witnesses that may be part of whatever the complaint is about. So it could involve a number of different people that are being interviewed. These interviews also could take a long time because we have to work through everybody's schedules to make sure that all happens. So those interviews are all done separately. Nothing is done together. Both parties, after the interview is completed, both parties will receive a review of what was received in the investigation. And that's a summary report of all of the interviews, so they'll be able to see all of the different interviews. The last part is that the investigations do not provide recommendations. The investigators do not provide recommendations. The investigators are just investigating, and then that's passed on to the next steps in the process.
Right, so I have actually participated in a formal hearing, and so I'll just go through a couple of slides here. First, letting you know that it is live. That is per the regulations. That's not Bethel deciding that we want that. So they are live, but the good news is they're on Zoom, so you don't have to be in the same space, you don't have to be in the same room, you don't even have to be in the same state when you guys have this live hearing. There's a 3-person hearing panel. That's important so that there's never anything that becomes deadlocked. We will get, as the investigation wraps up, we get everything presented to us, and the majority of it happens before the live hearing. You can also have your advisor, obviously, at the hearing with you. You will get the outcomes. Everybody will be notified in person, both parties, with what we have decided. They will outline the decision and any sanctions. So sanctions, again, are on this spectrum. They could be something kind of minor as far as like additional education, all the way up to dismissal from the college. There is an appeal process for either party. It can be based on biases that would have to be proven, obviously, and then also if any point the procedures were not followed specifically.
All right, real talk. I know sometimes talking to the Title IX coordinators, talking to the team can be scary. I want y'all to know, if you see something, please share. We will not disclose who shared this information. The person who is involved in this has complete say whether they want to go through just the supportive measures or if they want to go through the formal complaint process and go through having a hearing. They get that control. If you see something, if you hear about something, please share it with somebody. That could be talking to a coach, professor, talking to one of us, sending us an email, anything like that. I don't want y'all to have to go, through and think, oh man, I wish I would have shared that because I could have stopped someone from getting hurt. I could have done something to stop this from continuing. So please say something. I know it's scary, but those are some regrets I have as being a student is, man, I wish I would have just taken that step and talked to someone on the Title IX team about it. All right.
The amnesty clause. It says students will not be subject to disciplinary action for community standards or code of conduct violations regarding drugs or alcohol at or near the time of the incident. So this is just simply saying that 1 is confidential. 2, if you report something and you so happily to be in that same space where there's alcohol abuse, drug abuse, or whatever the case may be, and you know that this needs to be reported, it's important that you say something. Okay, and again, it's confidential, and no, you will not be disciplined for reporting it just because you were sharing that space or you were there, okay? So I want you to know that please be comfortable with sharing that information with us. If you, as Lily said, you know something, say something. You hear something, say something. Okay, this is me?
Yep.
Okay, how to report? I'm sure most of you all have been on the MyBC quick links, but we just want to tell you where to go in order to report. So you go to MyBC, and then right here at the bottom where it says helpful hints, you see Title IX. And from Title IX, you go on the side and you see Title IX information and Title IX report form. And there you will complete the form or whatever it is that you need to report, okay? But again, you have all of us that you can come and speak to, and you also have Janet who you can go directly to as well, okay? Did I miss it? Okay, good job.
All right, I know we're at time, so this is the one slide you pay attention to. Please make sure it's this one. This is too long, didn't read. I know it's a lot of information being thrown at y'all, so this kind of has a quick rundown of who you can talk to be a mandated reporter or non-mandated reporter. Talks a little bit about the differences between reporting and getting those supportive measures, and reporting, getting those supportive measures, and then starting the complaint process. Amnesty clause, like Ms. Shania said, that is something that I know definitely relieves some of that stress of reporting things, because you know there won't be consequences because I reported something. We want to make sure everything is addressed. Upcoming events, there's an online training. Shout out to the people who did it. It was due at Halloween. If you haven't done it yet, please, please, please make sure you can just search Safe Colleges training. Talk to your employment experience supervisor. See if you can do it potentially on the clock and get your hours in that way. In the spring, you'll get a survey. This just wants additional information for us to know about what places you feel safe about, what resources you'd like, how do you feel about a sense of belonging on campus. Lastly, we will be in Seminar A during lunch, so if y'all want to, I know we ran short for time, so if you have questions, concerns, things you want to talk about, feel free to pop your head in there. All right. Is there anything else we need? Or are we good to go? Sweet. Thank y'all.